Okay, it's a pleasure to have packed the room tonight. We promise you that this will be an important event in West Philadelphia. And we encourage you to ask as many questions as possible. Tonight's event is not only being sponsored by Intercultural Family Services, but a number of other important organizations.
Let me say this. First, I want to say thanks for the chips. It's a great dinner. Let me say with every respect, I guess, that if I thought the election was over, then I probably would not be here this evening. I think if you've read any of the stuff in the newspapers or seen some of the things that I've been doing since May 15th, I went right back to the campaign trail on the 16th. Traveled to half a dozen cities, looking at some of the best practices in major cities across the country. I've maintained a campaign schedule similar to the primary election. Of course the election is not over. I would not disrespect the voters. I would not disrespect Al. He's very serious about his candidacy. I'm serious about my candidacy. And the only way I know how to run for office is to run until the polls close at 8 o'clock on election night. And so I'm taking this very, very seriously because there are issues still to be discussed. I think that the two-party system is very important in this country. It's one of the fundamental tenets of democracy. And I think it's up to the voters to pay attention and get engaged and be involved and come out to vote. The candidates are out doing their job. I want to make sure the citizens are doing their jobs. Now, it's a 13-hour day on election day. And unless somebody's anticipating a blizzard, there's no reason for anybody not to show up at the polls on election day. So we've done our job, and we'll continue to do our jobs. I want to know what the citizens are going to do about the election and participate. It's a free thing. You don't have to... You know, they don't have a literacy test anymore. They don't have a poll tax anymore. There's no barrier or obstacle to people getting involved in this process, get registered, and show up. That's all you have to do. So, no, I'm not taking it for granted.
I'm for anything that can develop jobs. As a Chamber of Commerce executive, I said earlier, I do it every day. Case in point. Augusta Aerospace. In 1992, when I started with the Northeast Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce, they were a center of fabrication from Italian helicopters that were built in Italy and then sold in the United States and also in North and South America, where they finished the final product, they put together the wiring and so on, and painted it, and it was finally flown to the place where it had to go. Their business was doing quite well. They liked it in Northeast Philadelphia. They liked Philadelphia, they liked the region. However, they were being lured away, possibly Texas or Mississippi or Arkansas. Even Florida could have been, because they wanted to start actually manufacturing helicopters in the United States because business was so good. They attempted to get a meeting with Governor Ed Rendell. It didn't happen as quick enough as they needed it. They attempted to get some other meetings. It wasn't going well. They called me up. Well, the fellow that was the Speaker of the House at the time was John Frizzell, Northeast Philadelphia. Within a day, we had a meeting with him. We went out there. They explained their plans, their opportunities for employment in the city of Philadelphia. Frizzell looked at him and quickly called the governor. The governor saw us later that day. When we got back to Philadelphia, and I got really the full, and saw the momentum that was coming into Harrisburg, I quickly called Mayor John Street. Within a week, we had a meeting with him. After several months of negotiation with different things, everything was on track. By the end of this year, Augusta Aerospace in Philadelphia will be manufacturing helicopters with 601 new employees. That's something to be proud of, and I'm glad I was involved in that level, because that will help a lot of Philadelphians. A good job at a good wage is a better program than Harrisburg or Washington or Philadelphia will ever devise. It will help families, it will help families grow. So whatever it takes to create jobs, I'll do. But one of the most important things is you cannot totally create jobs from the second floor of City Hall. You have to be out there. Not only are you the chief cheerleader for the city of Philadelphia, you're also the chief salesman. And you're not only the chief executive, you're the chief salesman. You need to go out there and convince companies to come into Philadelphia And that takes talking, that takes time, but it's something that needs to be done. Also, you must give the business owners that are here in Philadelphia now the confidence to remain in Philadelphia. That's also salesmanship. And I'm willing to do it, and I think it can be done. It's not an impossible task. Thank you.
With regard to the tax situation in Philadelphia, there are many things that you would want to be number one in, but having the highest local tax burden of any major city in the country is not one of them. And so we need to lose that title. And one of the ways to do that, of course, is to lower our business taxes here. We're already experiencing a reduction in our wage tax from some legislation that I was able to get passed with the support of my colleagues back in 2004. The business privilege tax is tremendously onerous. It's a barrier to startup businesses and certainly encouraging any new business to come to Philadelphia. What I propose to do in a responsible fashion is to eliminate the gross receipts portion of the business privilege tax over a 5 to 7 year period of time. The other component of the business privilege tax is the net income portion, and seek to reduce that to the same level as the wage tax so that there's no discrepancy between what a worker pays on their taxable income and the business owner. But I'll also talk about how we speed up the development process in Philadelphia, how we make this city more business friendly, that we would revise our zoning code so that people could actually understand it. You would not have to hire a ton of people to work with you to get through the process. That the zoning code will be respected by the Planning Commission, and that our Planning Commission, using good land use planning principles and high quality people serving on that commission, would create an environment where people could see how I move from point A to point B to point C, bring a development project in, work with the neighborhood community so that people know what's going on, and then move that project along in order to create economic development opportunities and jobs. Neighborhood businesses are critically important to the future of the city. And again, given that we're here in University City, nearby two of Philadelphia's finest universities, those kinds of strategic partnerships with local businesses and universities who spend literally billions of dollars, employ thousands of people, can create an economic environment where, whether it's all the development over on University Avenue or now recently the expansion of Center City into West Philadelphia, the recently proposed Sierra 2 Center, Tower rather, and the Sierra South project, the development taking place at Drexel University, all of this activity in just one part of the city can be replicated all over Philadelphia. And lastly, I would point to, if you look at the district that I used to represent, if you've been on City Avenue recently, of course, you know that there's a new Target and a bank and a host of other new businesses out there. If you go to 52nd and Jefferson, you'll see one of the largest economic development projects going on anywhere in the city of Philadelphia, with soon a new Lowe's and a ShopRite supermarket and other activity. These models can be replicated all over Philadelphia. You have to work with the neighborhood group. Often there's a CDC, working with the district council person and the mayor, all of the various agencies in the government in a coordinated, planned fashion, not a mishmash of this project, that project, who's representing who, and who's got the hookup, but that you do things in a coordinated fashion with transparency and openness so that people can understand what in the world is going on in their neighborhoods. That's how we're going to revitalize this community. If you want to drive down the crime rate, give people jobs. Thank you.